Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also in partnership with the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Welcome inside the State Champs Sports Network studios, my friends. My name is Lauren Plant. Happy New Year. This is the first episode of State Champs Hangtime Indiana, the program for you, the high school boys basketball fan. We've got 10 highlights from throughout the Hoosier State loaded up for you. Plus, our Hangtime insiders Greg Rakestraw and Bob Stambazzi will be along very shortly to talk about the latest news on the sport in the state. So let's get going.
I'm Kevin Trozinski, and we start off with the non-conference matchup. The 7-1 Lawrence Central Bears hosting the 4-3 Culver Academy's Eagles. The Eagles getting on the board first. Deontay Craig finds a way to get open, and Anthony Gravenatis hits him for the easy runner. The Bears came in ranked 3rd in 4A, and they show why. Defense. Nigel Pack grabs the board and goes coast to coast. LC led after the first, 13-11. The Bears starting to work the outside in the second. Pack dishes over to Dre Davis. He makes some room and lets loose the long gun. But the Eagles can hit from range 2. Trey Galloway, cross court, and the sophomore Jacubas Skurdenis fills it up. Eagles win to halftime trailing by 1, 27-26. Bears came out of the break hot. Pack makes something out of nothing, splits the double and drops the finger roll, and increased the Bears' lead 44-38 after 3. LC would add on in the final frame. Greg Jenkins gonna poke the ball free, and Davis gonna finish it off with the reverse slam. He led the way with 18 points. Eagles kept fighting through. Galloway finds a way to get between 3 defenders and to the rack. He led the Eagles with 17 points, but it would not be enough as the Bears win this one 63-50, the final.
I'm Jenna Skalski. We head now over to a top 10 matchup in 4A. The number 4 Fishers Tigers played host to the number 6 Lafayette Jefferson Broncos. Fishers winning the tip-off. They came into this one undefeated, 12-0, and looking to keep the momentum going. Good movement on the outside, but it's going to be the sophomore Charlie Smith that gets scoring started. The Broncos looking to get on the board halfway through the first. Brooks Barnheiser with the drive through traffic. After one quarter, Lafayette Jeff was up 16-14. Second quarter, and Fishers trying to open things up a bit. Great perimeter passing gives Isaac Farah just enough space, and the big 6'8" senior gives Fishers the lead back. The very next possession, Barnheiser says, I can do that too. Pick up, pop, and drop 3 balls to open up scoring in the second. Minute to go in the half. Broncos inbounding, and who else would it be? Barnheiser drops another 3. He was on fire with 18 points in just the first half. Broncos led 31-30 at the break. Late stages of the third, and Smith has active hands, able to steal the ball away, gets it to Bryce Williams, and he does the rest. After 3, Tigers trailed 45-37. It was a seesaw affair in the fourth, but Fishers closed the gap. 3 minutes to go, and Jeffrey Simmons works hard in the paint for the tough bucket that completed a 10-point run, giving Fishers the lead. But we would need overtime to finish this one up. But overtime would belong to Lafayette Jeff, knocking off previously unbeaten Fishers 68-65, our final score.
I'm Glenn Marini from the Fort Wayne area. Rivalry game at North Arena. The Wabash Apaches taking on Huntington North. That's Huntington North's Zach Hubarth with the bucket. It's 23-15, though. Apaches up in the third quarter. Trenton Daughtry kicking it to Wyatt Davis for the 3 for the Apaches. It's now a 10-point lead, 37-27 in the fourth quarter. Still a double-digit lead by the Apaches. But it's Sam Thompson here. 2 of his team-high 10 points. That cuts it to a 40-35 point game with 2.5 minutes left. But Wabash so smooth down the stretch. Trenton Daughtry with the bucket. He had 21 to lead Wabash as Wabash wins 45-37. Here's Elijah Vandervelden and Trenton Daughtry of Wabash.
We knew coming into this game that Huntington North was going to be a really tough opponent. You know, we just got it done on the defensive end and was able to hold them to the less points that we had.
Huntington North's always been physical. They're known for their physicality. so we had to prepare at practice. So I think we came in with the right mentality, so we just had to keep our heads straight, keep our hot heads down, and I think we did that and did a good job of that. So.
Up in Albion, Central Noble off to a 5-2 start. The Cougars hosting DeKalb. Start of the third quarter. DeKalb down low. Connor Penrod with 2 of his 10, and that ties it at 27. But Central Noble not to be denied on their home court. The alley-oop from Miles Smith to Sawyer Yoder. Yoder had 18, and Central Noble fans of all shapes and sizes excited about that as they were up by 2. Ryan Schroeder down low with the bucket, but the star of this game was Central Noble super sophomore Connor Asijian. He buries the 3. He had 25 as Central Noble beats DeKalb for the first time since 1971. Central Noble 62, DeKalb 51. At the Big Blue Pit in Kendallville, East Noble hosting Northridge. The Knights coming off a Northeast State Conference title last season, and Hayden Jones knows what to do with it. The senior buries the triple as East Noble with an early lead. Northridge going inside. Alex Stauffer with the bucket for the Raiders. That's their first bucket of the game. The Knights with a 1-point lead, however, and they would extend it. This was nip and tuck all game long, but Hayden Jones had 22 points to lead East Noble as the Knights of East Noble win by 10 over Northridge, 68-58.
All right, Bob, let's start with Lawrence Central and Culver Academies, a team that was a 3A runner-up last year, 3A state champ the year before, against a team a lot of people think could be in the 4A state championship game this year in LC. And, of course, Culver plays up now in 4A as well with their tradition factor. Even though Culver lost by 13, I think they feel it's a win because Trey Galloway returned to the floor.
Well, he did, and plus the fact they got so darn many athletes, and the way Coach coaches them up and plays his bench gives them big assets when they're going against a team like Lawrence Central.
Well, again, Trey, even though I think he's a 2-guard, 3, kind of a swing player in college, he really is the point guard for his dad's team. And having watched them play Bloomington South without Trey in early December, they played hard. They still defended you, which is kind of their MO, but offensively they were so limited. Now, just 50 points against LC, what that tells you is the athleticism that Culver Academies have, where they have 3 Division I athletes in their starting 5. LC even topped that, and to me, that's the storyline for LC, is that scoring 63 against Culver Academies, teams don't do that. And also, Culver only managed 50 against Lawrence Central.
Yeah, it's turnabout, right? Yeah. Defense here, defense there, and you wonder if they're going to run, gun, and gig a little bit because they like to get out and push the ball. But in this contest, he had a lot of great athletes on the floor. Sometimes we just overlook that. We look at basketball players. They're great athletes on this basketball floor.
That was one of the biggest games on Saturday night statewide. I would say the biggest game on Tuesday night statewide was a pair of ranked teams in Lafayette, Jeff, and Fishers. And Fishers finally suffers their first loss of the season for head coach Matt Moore. Huge win for Lafayette Jeff, who I had a chance to see play on the ISC Sports Network in the Hall of Fame Classic. 68-65. Those two schools were briefly conference rivals during Lafayette Jeff's short tenure in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. That's a huge win for the Barnheiser family.
Oh, no doubt about it. And the way this season's starting to progress out, to get in there, you get a big win like that. What stepping stones does that help them go the next step?
Again, Lafayette Jeff with the Barnheiser brothers, with the Beaver brothers, and with the size of Matt Jones, I love their starting 5. Their issue that I worry about, and when we get into postseason play, I think the draw is big for them. If they've got to play 3 times in 5 nights knowing they do not want to go deep into their bench, that can be a problem.
That's just where I was going to go. You got to look at the depth that they don't have. They can go down a little, but they're not going to get a lot of productivity out of that bench that you normally like to see going 8 deep.
And I think for Fishers now, sometimes, a coach will tell you, you can learn a lot more in a loss than you can a win. While you want to keep winning as long as possible, for Fishers, I think the goals, and really it's one goal, but I'll kind of give it a second one, are very succinct. They have now been around since 2006. In their modern incarnation, they have never won a boys basketball sectional because Carmel has been so good for that length of time over the last 10, 15 years, especially in the last decade. So now for the Tigers, winning the Hoosier Crossroads Conference would be nice, making it past the sectional. That is job number one now for the rest of the year.
I still don't understand how you learn from losing, but that's just another subject for another day. But you get in there, and the biggest thing I look with Fishers, in all honesty, how well they're playing now, but how well they're going to be playing in a couple weeks.
Again, Fishers and Lafayette Jeff, one of the bigger games in the state, a matchup of top 10 teams. That one went to overtime. It went the way of Lafayette Jeff, 68-65. Other couple of scores to pass along to you. Central Noble over DeKalb, 62-51. East Noble over Northridge, 68-58. We'll have more key games when we come back and a look ahead as to what's going to take place this weekend in Indiana high school basketball.
What's up, Indiana? Jenna Skelski here. Just letting you know that State Champs is committed to covering all high school sports. We have a brand new show dedicated to the girls' side of the hoops equation, as well as highlights in other sports such as swimming and wrestling. We call it the State Champs Winter Roundup, and it premieres every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Be sure to download our brand new State Champs app and check out our socials so you will never miss a minute.
Lauren Plant here, and I will be here each week to help educate you on Lawrence Technological University. State Champs has been connected to Lawrence Tech for almost a decade now, and LTU earned some prestigious awards in 2019. It was ranked one of the best in the Midwest according to the Princeton Review. The U.S. News and World Report says Lawrence Tech has one of the best engineering programs, both undergraduate and graduate. Learn more at ltu.edu.
I admit it, I love working with money, negotiating, and making big decisions. That's why I'm majoring in finance and economics at Lawrence Tech. What's truly amazing about the education here is the small class sizes that give me easy access to my professors who truly care about my future. They even helped me get a great internship. And I was able to fulfill my lifelong dream of playing college golf. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
I'm Lauren Plant. Good one lined up here. The Frankton Eagles coming in at 3-4 on the road facing 6-3 LaPel. This matchup, part of the Madison County Tournament. These teams met back in November. LaPel won by the closest of margins, 59-57. The 6'2" sophomore Blake Mills gonna start the scoring in this one. Frankton has had a devil of a time trying to close out games, but they've been in every defeat. Ethan Bates gives it inside. Aiden Brobston led the way with 6 in the first. Eagles led 14-9. Opening up the second, Bulldogs get the inbound. Carson Huber breaking ankles, steps back, drops a long gun, and one. Back and forth we went. 4 minutes left in the second. Ryan Smith would break the tie for now. Just need a little room to work in the paint. We went into halftime tied back up at 26. Eagles with the arrow to start the third. Quick hands give it back to the Bulldogs. Huber on the fast break and the bucket. He led everybody with 25 points. LaPel's defense stepping up. Another takeaway this time. That sets up the offense, and who else? Huber. From distance, Bulldogs led by 7 after 3 quarters. And they'd keep that momentum into the fourth. Colby Bullard calls for the ball in the corner. He won't miss. LaPel goes on to win this one, 67-63 over Frankton.
I'm Chuck Pellerito, and we had a good one on Saturday night. The Marion Giants coming in at 5-2, hosting the 6-2 Cathedral Fighting Irish. First quarter, Ryan Trussler dribble drives, dishes it to Harrison Fagg. He gets Cathedral on the board first. Giants would respond. Rasheed Jones gets the cross-court pass, gives it to Jacqueline Thomas from behind the long line. Still in the opening quarter, Tayshawn Comer gets the pass, works around, gives it back to Grant Togg, who lets loose from distance. Cathedral up 17-9 after 1. Matthew Goolsby gonna take it himself, works around the double team, gets to the lane and finishes at the rack. He led everyone with 36 points. Jalen Blackman passes out to D'Angelo Jones, nobody around him for a mile. He'll drop a 3, bring the Giants within 2 going into the break, only trailing 38-40. Cathedral coming out of the half hot. They work the ball around the perimeter and ends up in the hands of Jalen Johnson. He'll get his 4-3 of the game on 4 tries. Giants stepping up the defense. Jones gets his hand in the passing lane for the turnover, and he'll get rewarded at the hoop. He finished for the night with 13. Fighting Irish stay working the outside. They'll get it over to Tog. He's good from distance. He led the way with 27 points. Cathedral led 62-57 after 3. The Giants' Thomas is going to go it alone. He'll hit the floater, and 4 quarters wasn't enough to settle this one. We went into overtime tied at 78. And it would be Tog getting the only field goal of overtime, hitting this mid-range jumper as Cathedral goes on to win this thriller 85-80 over the Marion Giants.
I'm Grant Pugh reporting from Terre Haute, where it's Terre Haute South hosting Columbus North. First quarter, Amarie Wilson in trouble finds Jaden Thomas to beat the double team. Thomas plenty of time, that makes it 2-0 Terre Haute South Braves. Then it's Capil Reddy. Nice move, baseline for the big man. South is up 6-3. Maynard Lewis says, yeah, I like that move as well. Columbus steps up their defense after that. Reese Harmon gets the swipe, kicks it down to Blake Barker for 2 points. Barker adds the 3 ball as the first quarter expires, and it's an 11-8 Bulldogs lead after 1 quarter of play. Second quarter, it's Barker with an assist over to Cooper Horn for another Columbus 3 as the Bulldogs beat the Braves 62-32, the final from the south side. How about the South Vermillion Wildcats hosting Park Heritage? Cheerleaders are ready for this one. Check out this good bounce from Riley Ferguson, right off the rim and in. Wolves are up 3-0. South Vermillion comes back though with Jackson Mullins. He had 13 for the Wildcats. More from them. Braden Allen charges the lane. That makes it 5-3 South V. On the other end, Austin Petrillo, and he ties the game at 5. Good action right here. Back come the Wildcats. John Piper on the baseline gives South V the lead right back. Then Ferguson for the Wolves takes it all the way. We are tied up again. Mullins says, I can do that as well. South Vermillion 9, Park Heritage 7. Later, it's Bryce Gilman time. He'll take all 3 of those. Gilman finished with 13. That pushes the lead to 5. But Connor Davis, a monster night for him, 33 points as the Wolves get the win, 63-53. Your final from Clinton. How about the Washington Hatchets back at the Hatchet House hosting Lagodi? Let's start the game with a smooth 3 from Jordan Wildman. What a great start for the Lions. Kyle Mann passes to Kiawa Jones. He drains the 3. That gets the Hatchets on the scoreboard. Then Wildman is waiting for an open man, sees Nathaniel Hart, passes to Hart for the easy bucket. Lions having a good season so far. Check this out, Mann with a steal, takes it back down the court, lays that one up and in, gets it in with the foul. Then Wildman again passes to Silas Bauer. Quick pass back to Wildman. He lays it up and falls down on the play. But how about Trey Reed for the Hatchets? Chucks the ball to Grant Niehaus. Niehaus lays it in with a great play. At the end of the day, Washington gets the win against Lagodi, 47-44, your final.
All right, second go-around for us here on the program today. Let's talk about Frankton and LaPel. Same school district, same sectional. This is the second time they have played this year. They drew each other in the opening round of the Madison County Tournament. We have gotten to that time of year this week and next. Tremendous amount of county tournaments across the state of Indiana. Frankton got the victory by 4. My guess would be, Bob, they're going to play for a third time coming up in the month of March.
That happens, doesn't it? Especially those 2 schools, same corporation you just alluded to, 2 schools that don't like each other. Just a great rivalry they have developed over the years. Come from football now into basketball, where LaPel's really playing good football. Now it's really a combination of all sports. But right now, talking basketball, what's that coach they got by the name of Howell down there?
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
I believe he knows what to do.
Right. And again, Brett Robson, they both have won state championships in the last 5 years. They now have made multiple appearances in the state championship game. It is one of the great measuring stick games where everybody goes, that's the team we have to beat. But so rarely when you say the team we have to beat is an indication of can we win a state championship. That's seemingly the case between Frankton and LaPel every year.
And LaPel built the new gymnasium, which is really a beautiful facility, and that's where it goes through now. You go down there and play, and this is a great rivalry. Whoever goes in there, I know the Wabash County teams going down there love to go and become a little rivalry in that sectional itself.
And, of course, Wapahani is in that group, and Coach Lewis does a tremendous job at Wapahani.
I forgot about that one.
They've been in the top 10 in and out throughout the course of the season as well. Big day up at Marion on Saturday. This was their annual Marion Classic. They had 6 games at the Bill Green Arena. The headliner the last game, and it lived up to the hype. In overtime, Cathedral beat Marion by a score of 85-80. And this is a Cathedral team that really returned the freshman in the Comer kid. He's now a sophomore off of last year's team that was very good, just They're in the wrong sectional. That sectional is impossible to get out of seemingly every year with LC, LN, Warren, and now Attucks into that mix as well. But a lot of the guys that were role players have kind of stepped up, and Grant Togg, and maybe the biggest one of those, he had 27 for the Irish in the victory.
You know, Marion, you sit there and look at them in that same game. Blackman knocks down 36 in 3/4.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he suffers a knee injury.
Yeah,
and
we
that's
buried the
gonna be
lead.
huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So from the Cathedral perspective, that was a great road win. For a Marion perspective, that is a season-changing win because, again, I don't think it's official yet, but it is largely viewed as a torn ACL, and I think him playing again this year will be a pipe dream at this point. I mean, I think you're looking at, especially a kid that clearly has a college basketball future. You're thinking long-term. You hope you have him back by the beginning of next year.
Marion is still a viable team. They got J.K. Thomas, who also in that game before we found out had 25 points. But this team is just now going to have to go back, regroup, because as you've talked about a lot, you play with a guy all year, then all of a sudden that piece of the puzzle is out of there. You got to find that new piece to get everything put back together.
He is option number one. And again, they are more than just a one-man team. People overlook the other key pieces that Marion has. But again, they also, enrollment-wise, made the jump back from 3A to 4A. And that's part of the big story in 3A this year, is that 3 of the 4 teams that played in the semi-state last year are now at the 4A level. Culver Academies, Crispus Attucks, as well as Marion. It was going to be a tougher road to hoe for Marion anyway in the postseason, and they're in the same sectional as Lafayette Jeff, a team we talked about in our last segment. So again, it was not going to be easy for them. Now it's gotten a lot more difficult.
Yeah, and that's a sectional they used to be in back in the day with Lafayette, Logansport, and whatnot. Used to get together with Harrison and all that. That was really
it is still the North Central Conference Invitational. It's back to it now.
Over there, it's going to put all the North Central Conference teams back together.
That's what it's done. All right, couple other games I want to get to. Columbus North got a good win against Terre Haute South. Columbus North looking for their first boys basketball sectional championship in 7 years. Only problem is they're in the same sectional as Bloomington South, and JR has tended to dominate that one. And a great game down in southwestern Indiana. Washington beat Lagodi 47-44. Hatchets have just one loss in the season. Lagodi has 3, but all to really good competition. It's been a down stretch for Lagodi, especially as Bar Reeve has been so good. They're outstanding again, but I think Bar Reeve's going to get a better battle from the Lions than they've gotten the last few years.
Well, can you spell defense? That's what you're seeing with these two teams. 47 points for one, 44 for the other. They just get after it on the court. That's what's fun.
No, but I can spell Lagodi. L-O-O-G-O-O-T-E-E, and that's
You're
how you
the
spell
only one in the
Lagodi.
state of Indiana, other than people that live there, that
Southern
can do it.
Indiana right here. All right, big games coming up this weekend. LN and Warren Central. You could say every game's a big game in the MIC. LN was thought to have been good. Maybe not this good. They're number 1. Warren is the story. They graduated everybody, and they're undefeated under a brand-new head coach in Garrett Weiniger.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we've talked about athletes that they have year in, year out down at Warren Central, but this group of kids seems like they've really meshed well together. They don't care who the star is. They just care where that W goes.
By the way, another big game involving a MIC team, Pike and Fishers. Again, Fishers just suffered their first loss of the season. Your reward 3 days later, hey, go play Pike, a team that's just outside of the top 10. For Buff and Zionsville getting together on Friday night, that's an annual battle as well. And it's a really good weekend for Connorsville. Connorsville plays Greensburg on Friday night. That's a huge game in the Eastern Indiana Conference. The next night, they go and play at Newcastle.
Well, there'll be some defense played in that bad boy, I'm guaranteeing you, up there at Newcastle.
All right,
those two teams.
Time for us to exit stage left. Lauren, back to you.
I want to thank Greg Rakestraw and Bob Stambazzi. Hey, they'll be along all season long. Please follow State Champs Indiana on all the socials. Please download the brand new free State Champs app. Currently, we cover both the state of Michigan and Indiana, so click on Indiana for all the great high school sports content from the Hoosier State. I'm Lauren Plant. We'll see you next week.
State Champs Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also in partnership with the Indiana High School Athletic Association.